Welcome to Reddit Courtroom Drama, the channel dedicated to intense courtroom stories. Not the same old cheating stories you see everywhere. If you want fresh, gripping drama, hit subscribe and join us. I thought I understood betrayal. I thought 15 years of marriage meant something. I was wrong on both counts. My name is Trevor, and for most of my adult life, I believed in doing things the right way. I met Camilla during my residency at County General. She was a pharmaceutical sales rep who came through the hospital twice a month, always put together, always sharp. We connected over coffee in the cafeteria, started dating. Got married 2 years later. Those first few years were good. I was building my practice, working brutal hours, but Camilla seemed supportive. She'd bring dinner to the office when I worked late. We'd talk about the future, kids, maybe a vacation home someday. The cracks started small. Little comments about how much I was working, questions about my income that felt less like partnership and more like auditing. But I brushed it off. Marriage takes work, right? Everyone has friction. We had our daughter Autumn in year 5, beautiful kid, smart, curious about everything. For a while, things felt stable again. Camilla stayed home with Autumn for the first 2 years, then went back to work part-time. I thought we were on the same page. I was paying attention to the wrong things. Year 12, Camilla started getting distant. Not angry, just absent. Conversations became transactional. She'd ask about my day, but I could tell she wasn't really listening. I tried to reconnect. Suggested couples therapy, date nights. She'd agree, then cancel last minute. Always a reason, always something more important. I should have seen it coming. One night I came home early from the hospital, rare occurrence. I walked into the kitchen and found Camilla on her laptop, typing furiously. The moment she saw me, she slammed it shut. Not casually, aggressively, like I'd caught her doing something wrong. What was that about? I asked. Nothing, just work stuff. But her face told a different story. Guilt written all over it. I didn't push. Maybe I should have. Instead, I filed it away, added it to the growing list of things that didn't quite add up. 3 months later, she asked for a divorce. We were sitting at the dinner table. Autumn was at a sleepover. Camilla had made my favorite meal, which should have been my first clue something was wrong. She waited until I'd finished eating, then just said it. I want a divorce, Trevor. No lead-up, no emotion, just a statement of fact. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, trying to process what I'd just heard. What are you talking about? I'm not happy. I haven't been happy for years. I think it's time we both moved on. Years, she said, years, and I've been over here trying to fix something I didn't even know was broken. Is there someone else? I asked. She hesitated. Just a fraction of a second, but I caught it. No, this is about us, about me needing something different. I didn't believe her, but what could I say? You can't force someone to stay married to you. Okay, I said. If that's what you want, we'll figure it out. We'll be fair about everything. She nodded, smiled even, like I just agreed to let her borrow the car. I'm glad you're being reasonable, she said. My lawyer will be in touch. Her lawyer. She already had a lawyer, past tense. Meaning she'd planned this, prepared for it. While I was working 70-hour weeks trying to provide for our family, she was interviewing attorneys. That's when I knew this wasn't going to be simple. Her lawyer's name was Patricia Holloway. 50-something, designer suits, reputation for being ruthless in divorce proceedings. I'd heard about her from colleagues who'd gone through ugly splits. She didn't do amicable. She did scorched earth, the first letter. Arrived a week later. 10 pages of demands that made my blood run cold. Camilla wanted the house. Fair enough, I thought. Autumn needed stability. She wanted primary custody. That one hurt, but I understood wanting to maintain the status quo. I'd been working so much that Autumn was more used to being with her anyway. Then I got to page 4, permanent spousal support. 50% of my gross monthly income, not temporary, not rehabilitative, permanent. For the rest of my life or until she remarried, which given the terms she was asking for would never happen. I read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding. She wanted half my salary. Forever, I called my own attorney immediately. His name was Gregory Walsh, a partner at a mid-sized firm recommended by a colleague. Calm demeanor, decades of experience. Greg, is this normal? Can she actually ask for this? She can ask for anything, Trevor. Doesn't mean she'll get it. What's her justification? I don't know. We were married 15 years. She worked for most of it. I don't understand how she's claiming she needs permanent support at this level. Let me look into it. Don't respond to anything without running it past me first. I hung up and sat in my office, staring at the wall. 50%. Half of everything I'd worked for, every surgery, every overnight shift. Every missed birthday and school play because I was building something I thought we'd both benefit from, and she wanted half. Forever. The next few months were a blur of depositions, document requests, and discovery. I provided everything they asked for, tax returns, bank statements, investment accounts. I had nothing to hide. Camilla's strategy became clear pretty quickly. Her lawyer was arguing that she'd sacrificed her career to support mine. That she'd given up advancement opportunities to be available for Autumn. That my income was only possible because of her contributions to the household. On paper, it almost sounded reasonable, but I knew the truth. Camilla hadn't sacrificed anything. She'd worked part-time by choice. Her income was decent, but she spent it faster than she earned it. Designer handbags, spa weekends. She'd literally told me once that budgeting was depressing and she refused to do it. I'd been covering our lifestyle for years, not because she couldn't contribute more, because she chose not to. Greg kept telling me to stay calm, to focus on the facts, to let him handle it. Family court judges see through this stuff, Trevor. Trust the process. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Camilla was too confident, too assured, like she knew something I didn't. Then, during one of the discovery hearings, her lawyer made a comment that stuck with me. Mr. Ashford has substantial resources that he's failed to disclose. We believe there are additional accounts that haven't been included in his financial affidavit. I looked at Greg, confused. He looked equally baffled. That's categorically false, Greg responded. We've provided complete documentation of all accounts, assets, and income sources. Patricia smiled. We'll see about that. After the hearing, I pulled Greg aside. What was she talking about? What accounts? I don't know. It's a fishing expedition. They're hoping you forgot something so they can paint you as hiding assets. But it nagged at me. Why would they make that claim if they had nothing to back it up? 2 weeks later, I got my answer. Greg called me at the hospital. His voice was tight. Trevor, I need you to come to the office immediately. We have a problem. I left mid-shift, got another doctor to cover, and drove straight there. Greg was waiting with his paralegal and another attorney I didn't recognize. This is Hannah Chen, our forensic accounting specialist. She's been reviewing the discovery documents from Camilla's side, and we found something. Hannah spread out a series of bank statements. On the conference table, accounts I'd never seen before, all with my name on them. Someone opened 3 separate accounts in your name over the past 4 years, deposits totaling almost $200,000. The accounts are registered to your social security number, but the deposits come from sources I can't immediately trace. I stared at the statements, my mind racing. I didn't open these. I've never seen these accounts before in my life. I believe you, Greg said, but they exist. And Camilla's lawyer is going to argue that you hid them. How would she even know about them if I didn't? Hannah and Greg exchanged a look. That's the question, isn't it? Hannah said slowly. The only way she'd know is if she opened them herself. The room went silent. Are you saying Camilla created fake accounts in my name? I'm saying someone did, and given that she's the one who brought them up, she's either the perpetrator or she's working with someone who is. My head was spinning. This was identity fraud. Financial fraud, criminal fraud. What do we do? Greg leaned forward. We investigate, we trace every deposit, every transaction, we figure out exactly what happened and who's responsible, and then, he paused. Then we bury her in court. The next 6 weeks were intense. Hannah brought in additional forensic specialists. They tracked down the sources of every deposit in those fake accounts. It was meticulous work, banking records, IP addresses, digital signatures on the account applications. What they found was stunning. Every deposit came from a company called Riverside Consulting, a shell corporation registered in Delaware with no physical address, no employees, and no actual business operations. The money flowing into Riverside came from multiple sources, but the largest chunk came from pharmaceutical companies. The same pharmaceutical companies Camilla worked with. Hannah kept digging. She found email records, invoices, payment records. It took weeks, but she pieced together a scheme that was both brilliant and brazen. Camilla had been running a kickback operation for years. She'd convinced doctors to prescribe specific medications in exchange for cash payments routed through Riverside Consulting. Then she'd deposit portions of that money into accounts she'd opened in my name, making it look like I was the one receiving illegal kickbacks. If this came to light during the divorce, I'd be destroyed. Medical license revoked. Criminal charges, prison time, and she'd walk away with everything, claiming she had no idea her husband was corrupt. It was the perfect frame, except she'd made one mistake. She'd gotten greedy and tried to use those accounts as leverage in the divorce, which meant we found them before anyone else did. This is bigger than divorce court, Greg said during one of our strategy sessions. This is fraud, identity theft, racketeering. We need to involve law enforcement. What about the divorce? The divorce just became the least of her problems. We filed an emergency motion with the court, requesting an immediate hearing and asking the judge to review new evidence of fraud. We didn't include all the details in the filing, just enough to get the judge's attention. The hearing was scheduled for the following week. I barely slept the night before. Part of me couldn't believe it had come to this. The woman I'd married, the mother of my child, had tried to frame me for financial crimes that would have ended my career and put me in prison. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge Miranda Castellano presiding. Late 50s, former prosecutor, reputation for no-nonsense rulings. She'd heard thousands of divorce cases. I wondered if she'd ever seen anything like this. Camilla arrived with Patricia, both of them looking confident. Camilla was wearing a pale blue dress, pearls, hair perfectly styled. She looked like the victim, like the wronged wife fighting. For what she deserved, she didn't look at me once. Judge Castellano called the hearing to order. I've reviewed the emergency motion, she said. Counselor Walsh, you've made serious allegations. I hope you have evidence to back them up. Greg stood. We do, Your Honor. We'd like to call Hannah Chen, forensic accountant, as our first witness. Hannah took the stand and was sworn in. Greg walked her through her qualifications, her experience, her findings. She was calm, methodical, devastating. In the course of reviewing the financial discovery, I identified 3 accounts opened in Mr. Ashford's name that he had no knowledge of. These accounts received deposits totaling $197,000 over a 4-year period. Patricia stood. Your Honor, this proves our point exactly. Mr. Ashford has been hiding assets. I'm not finished, Hannah said coolly. Those accounts were opened using Mr. Ashford's personal information, but the IP addresses traced back to Mrs. Ashford's laptop. The digital signatures on the account applications were created using software installed on her computer, and the deposits came from a shell company that exists solely to funnel kickback payments from pharmaceutical companies. The courtroom went dead silent. Camilla's face drained of color. Patricia grabbed her arm, whispered something urgent in her ear. Judge Castellano leaned forward. Are you telling me Mrs. Ashford created fraudulent accounts to frame her husband? Yes, Your Honor, and there's more. Hannah introduced financial records showing Camilla's involvement in the kickback scheme, emails between her and physician targets, payment schedules, everything. Mrs. Ashford wasn't just framing her husband. She was running an illegal operation for years, using her position in pharmaceutical sales to bribe doctors into prescribing specific medications. The deposits in Mr. Ashford's name were her insurance policy. If she ever got caught, she could claim. He was the mastermind. I watched Camilla as the testimony continued. She was shaking. Patricia was frantically taking notes, but even she looked rattled. Judge Castellano turned to Patricia. Does your client wish to respond to these allegations? Patricia stood slowly. Your Honor, we need time to review these documents. This is the first we're hearing of. The first you're hearing. The judge's voice was ice. Your client is the one who brought up the existence of these accounts in discovery. She knew they existed. She knew because she created them. Patricia opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. We request a continuance to consult with. Denied. Mrs. Ashford, stand up. Camilla stood, wobbling slightly. She looked like she might faint. Did you create accounts in your husband's name without his knowledge? Silence. Did you participate in a scheme to provide illegal kickbacks to physicians? More silence. You understand that lying to this court is perjury, which is a crime. Camilla's lawyer whispered something to her. Camilla's voice came out barely above a whisper. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. The judge's expression shifted from stern to disgusted. I'm ordering an immediate suspension of these divorce proceedings pending criminal investigation. Mrs. Ashford, you are hereby ordered to have no contact with the marital home, no access to joint accounts, and limited supervised visitation with the minor child until further notice. I'm also referring this matter to the district attorney's office and the state medical board. She slammed her gavel. We're adjourned. The aftermath moved faster than I expected. The DA's office opened a formal investigation within 48 hours. Federal agencies got involved because the kickback scheme crossed state lines. Camilla was arrested 3 weeks later on multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, and racketeering. The pharmaceutical companies involved were fined millions. Several executives resigned. It became a whole thing in the medical community. Cautionary tale about corruption in drug sales. Camilla eventually took a plea deal. 5 years in federal prison, full restitution to me for the damages to my reputation and the legal fees. Patricia Holloway was investigated by the Bar Association for potential ethics violations. She claimed she had no knowledge of the fraud, and I actually believe her. Camilla had played everyone. The divorce was finalized while she was awaiting sentencing. No spousal support. I got primary custody of Autumn. Camilla got supervised visitation when she's eventually released. Autumn took it hard. No kid should have to learn that their mother is a criminal, but kids are resilient. We started therapy together, worked through it. She's doing better now. As for me, I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone the same way again. 15 years of marriage, and I never saw it coming. Never suspected she was capable of something like this. I thought I understood betrayal. Turns out I didn't know the half of it, but here's what I learned. Sometimes the person you trust most is the one you should have been watching closest. Sometimes love makes you blind to the truth standing right in front of you. And sometimes the universe has a funny way of exposing people who think they're smarter than everyone else. Camilla wanted half my salary forever. The judge didn't just cut her off. She sent her to prison, and as for me, I'm still practicing medicine, still working too much, still trying to be a good dad, but now I check my credit report monthly. I review every financial statement. I trust but verify, because I learned the hard way that not everyone who says they love you actually does. Some people just love what you can give them, and when you stop giving, that's when you find out who they really are. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe button. From Courtroom Drama, these stories need to be told, because somewhere out there, someone else is living through their own version of this nightmare, and maybe, just maybe, hearing mine will help them see the truth before it's too late.